In the related development, but this time in East Africa, police in Uganda are on high alert following a planned protest by the youths. On Monday, ahead of the planned protest, the police raided the main opposition headquarters on the eve of an anti-government demonstration. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni warned on Saturday that organisers of the planned march to Parliament were playing with fire. Young Ugandans have been mobilizing support online for the march to demand an end to what they say are high levels of corruption and bad governance. They have partly been inspired by their counterparts in neighboring Kenya, whose recent mass protests forced their president to axe plans to increase taxes. To discuss this, we're joined this morning here on News Now by Kato Tumusiime, a human rights lawyer and advocate. Thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you so much for hosting me today.
All right, great. Kato, tell me very quickly, what's the mood like there in Uganda? Any sight and sign of protesters on the streets?
Yeah, the mood is very intensifying in this city, Kampala, right now as we speak, because of the presence of the security organs, including the military itself. If you take a look at the videos and how the security agencies are deployed on the major streets of Kampala, you may think that Uganda is actually at a war. But this is a war against corruption. This is a war against the political leaders who misuse the government resources, who misuse the government offices in their own benefit. So far, since morning, we have received news about the arrest of, I think, so far 10 activists that have been arrested in the city center, including one that happened in downtown Kampala, and the other one that happened at the city square in Kampala here. And we expect the number of arrests to be made today because the people are determined to fight against this corruption, to fight against this impunity, to fight against the greedy members of parliament. And in this, they are exercising their right and freedom to demonstrate peacefully. These are people who are only saying, answer our questions about the corruption in our parliament, about the corruption in the government offices, and we need accountability on how much is being spent on that house that we call parliament, that is full of people who are supposed to be honorables but are dishonorables in this nature. The fight is not headed by any single party, maybe call it a political party, but it is a people-centered action. The people are rising to fight for their own rights, to demand for accountability in accordance with their duties under Article 17 of the 1995 Constitution here in Uganda, that gives us the power to rise and help the government in fighting for corruption, in fact, fighting for misuse of public offices, and in ending that kind of inconsiderate mistreatment and misuse of our own funds as a country, as a taxpayers. At the end of it all, it is us, the common Ugandans, that face the wrath of all this kind of misuse that happened in our parliament. We expect the number of protests to continue, and by the close of the day today, we may have big numbers of the people being arrested, not even the demonstrators themselves, but some people, we believe that some people may be picked up from their offices, some people may be picked up from their homes for being taken to be threats in the mobilization of this kind of campaign.
All right. I mean, yesterday there were raids at the opposition headquarters. We did hear that. What can you tell us about that raid?
It happened at the headquarters of the National Unity Platform, the leading opposition political party here in Uganda, and a number of arrests were made. Very many people, around 10 people were arrested. Surprising enough, these people were arraigned before court at 6:30 p.m. in the evening, even after the close of business of court sessions. But the magistrate had the audacity and, the energy to have this file appear before him, and these people take plea. We almost left court at around 7 p.m., something unprecedented in this country. I think we are going back in the bad days where we used not to respect the official time of courts, where we used to see the court systems and the judicial officers being used by the politicians in their own legal battles. These people were charged with offenses that related to unlawful assembly. The police claims that the people had and were organizing an unlawful assembly. Surprisingly, these people were remanded to police, were remanded to prison in Ruzira up to the 25th day of July. Most probably in our thinking, we believe that there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of pressure that was amounting following the action that was planned to happen today, this morning on the 23rd. So these people were arraigned before court late in the evening, remanded. However much we tried to make their bail application, I was personally handling that case, but the application couldn't be entertained on the reasons that the magistrate thought that his ruling would be given on a later date, which is 25th. And those are the numbers that we were able to capture that were arrested.
All right.
The other one of the honorable MPs that is a youth wing of the National Unity Platform was only slapped with charges that related to Traffic and Road Safety Act. And he was also remanded over the same charges, and he will be back in court on the 25th, including the other 8 people. In the people that were arrested, we have a number of 3 MPs that represent the National Unity Platform in the Parliament of Uganda. They are also against the corruption and misuse of office that happen in their parliament, even if they may be affected in one way or the other, but they were also supporting the people to come and show their discontention against the misuse and the corruption that is taking place in that house.
All right. I mean, you've talked about the Ugandans having their freedom to express their rights as well. And we did also see a tweet there, of course, being pushed by Bobby Wine there, and you talked about his support. Any ideas if he may be placed under house arrest once again, just like we saw in previous years back, especially looking at the fact that he is a heavy supporter of these protests?
Personally, I have not had or seen any communication in that regard, but it is always the practice that happens here in Uganda, even when he's not the leader of the biggest political party, but there is suspicion from the police and the other military organizations that this person may have an impact in mobilization and mobilizing these people to come and storm the streets of Kampala. That's where we normally see these people coming up and surrounding their homes. And in that regard, we expect that the same could have happened today, but I cannot authoritatively say that this has happened.
All right,
the
all right.
Constitution
All right,
of the
Mr.
Republic
Tumusiime.
of Uganda.
Mr. Tumusiime, I think we did get that point. You're not certain whether it will happen, but thank you so much for joining us here on News Now. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.